zigga zoo, zigga zigga zoo, zigga zigga zoo, zigga 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 zoo. Tigga tigga two, tigga tigga two, tigga tigga two, tigga tigga two, tigga 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 two. Mega mega moo, mega mega moo, mega mega moo, mega mega moo, mega 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 moo. Ligga ligga loo, ligga ligga loo, ligga ligga loo, ligga ligga loo, ligga 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 loo. Pigga pigga poo, pigga pigga poo, pigga pigga poo, pigga pigga poo, pigga 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 poo. Hey West Burlington Falcons, I was just doing a little bit of a vocal warm-up before music class started. You know, it's important to warm up your voice before you sing, just like it's important to warm up your body before you exercise. Trying to sing without a proper warm-up can lead to vocal fatigue and even damage your voice. Well, I've gotten my warm-up out of the way. How about you? If not, hey, no worries, because we're going to be doing plenty of vocal warm-ups today. Let's get going. Welcome to the music room. Welcome to the music room. Welcome to the music room. Ready, set, here we go. Welcome to the music room. Welcome to the music room. Welcome to the music room. Ready, set, here we go. Today, class, I'd like to discuss this word that is on the board, enunciate. Can anybody give me the definition of that word, enunciate? Yes, Tony? Don't that mean to start naming things off one by one? No, that's enumerate. We're looking for the definition of enunciate. Yes, Arnold, any clues? Enunciate means to say or pronounce words clearly. Yes, that's what we're looking for. Enunciate means to speak in a way that is clearly understood. In music, enunciating our words can sometimes feel like we are exaggerating certain consonants or syllables. It is an incredibly important concept for singers to learn. Exaggerating consonants and syllables? It seems like an awful lot of extra work for something that makes you sound ridiculous. Well, sure, it sounds pretty strange when we talk that way, but when we sing, we want to have clear consonants, especially at the end of words. Otherwise, we get something that I call muddle mouth, where words just sort of run together all mushy-gushy. Instead of having clear words such as like, hold, and wave, it might sound a little bit like this. I'd like to hold you tight until it's time to wave goodbye. Have you ever listened to someone singing and have absolutely no clue what it is they're singing about? Sometimes that's because the singer is neglecting good enunciation. We can't understand what words they are singing. It is a problem that many singers struggle with, including myself. You saying I ain't a good enunciator? I'm saying it's something that all vocalists have to continue to practice. And there is no better time to start practicing our enunciation than right now. I'm going to teach you a new song today called Chumbara. Now, Chumbara is a super simple song to learn because there is only one word in the entire song. Chumbara, it's up on the board. Just one word. You can remember one word, surely. The song sounds like this. Chumbara, 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 chum 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 chumbara, 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 chum chum chum. Let's sing the song one more time. I'll slow it down a little bit so that you can follow along. And pay close attention to the low do, high do sound. Chum, chum, chum. That can be a tricky spot for some singers, going from low do to high do and back to low do. Chum, chum, chum. Do, do, do. Let's try singing Chumbara slowly all together. And here we go. Chumbara, 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 chum, 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 chumbara, 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 chum, chum, chum. You might have noticed the word Chumbara that I've written on the board. I've gone ahead and I've divided it up into its syllables. 3 syllables, chum, ba, ra. 3 syllables. That is important for this exercise in enunciation because we're actually going to change the word Chumbara. And in order to change it, we're going to use what is in these 3 buckets. In my first bucket over here, I've got some syllables such as this one, nag, or I've got pop in this one. These syllables from this bucket are going to replace the first syllable in Chumbara. So instead of chum, we might have pop. In the second bucket, I've got vowel sounds. Now I know there's 5 vowel sounds, but we're only using 4 for this activity. A, E, O, and U. I will choose one of them, for example, A, and that's going to replace the second syllable. So instead of ba, we'd say or a. Then, in the third bucket, we've got some extra syllables. For example, to or my. These syllables from this bucket are going to replace the third syllable in the word Chumbara. So instead of ra, we might have my. Now, in case you wanted to know how many different combinations of syllables we have in these 3 buckets, there is a possible 1,200 different combinations that we can make with all the syllables that I've got in these buckets. We are likely never to receive the same word a second time. Now, I know these words do not make any sense to you. This is a nonsense song. However, we can still work on our enunciation, making sure that we're pronouncing every single syllable clearly. Let's give one example. Yap. O. And foo. So now instead of singing Chumbara, we're going to sing Yap O Foo. Let's give it a shot. And here we go. Yap O Foo, 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 Yap, 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 Yap O Foo, 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 Yap, Yap, Yap. We're going to play some more Chumbara in just a little bit. We're going to be pulling out some different syllables from the different buckets. Feel free to sing along and work on your enunciation. Speaking of enunciation, I mentioned before that when we are enunciating while singing, we want to kind of over-exaggerate certain consonants or syllables so that the audience can clearly understand them. Now, sometimes singers get a little self-conscious about this, especially with certain syllables such as p or t or b. Any idea why singers might feel a little self-conscious with those consonants? Sometimes when we're really over-exaggerating that, we get a little bit of spit flying out of our mouths. We feel a little bit embarrassed about that. But no one said the singing life was going to be glamorous, which is why I'm going to declare this spot the splash zone. As we sing Chumbara, I want to see that spit flying at the screen. I've got my umbrella ready to protect myself, but I want to make sure that you're really pronouncing and enunciating those consonants. Let's try singing Chumbara all together. Chumbara, and here we go. Chumbara, 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 chum 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 Chumbara, 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 here we go. Soppy goo, soppy goo, soppy goo, soppy goo, soppy goo, soppy goo, sop, 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 soppy goo, soppy goo, soppy goo, soppy goo, soppy goo, soppy goo, sop, sop, sop. Buzzo he, and here we go. Buzzo he, buzzo he, buzzo he, buzzo he, buzzo he, buzzo he, buzz, 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 buzzo he, buzzo he, buzzo he, buzzo he, buzzo he, buzzo he, buzz, buzz, buzz. Hugazoo, and here we go. Hugazoo, 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 hug, 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 hugazoo, 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 hug, hug, hug. Last time, flop-oo fly, and here we go. Flop-oo fly, flop-oo fly, flop-oo fly, flop-oo fly, flop-oo fly, flop-oo fly, flop, 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 flop-oo fly, flop-oo fly, flop-oo fly, flop-oo fly, flop-oo fly, flop-oo fly, flop, flop, flop. We sing enough solfege in class that we are now able to sing what is known as the major scale. It sounds like this. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. I'm going to teach you a vocal exercise that is going to help us practice not only singing that major scale, but also work on our enunciation. Take a look at the board. I've got 7 syllables written up on the board. I'm going to say them first. I want you to repeat them after me. Da, me, ni, po, tu, la, be. Make sure that you're really spitting out those consonants. Remember, the splash zone. You're going to want to make me wet. Try it one more time. Da, me, ni, po, tu, la, be. Let's try it one more time, a little bit faster this time. Da, me, ni, po, tu, la, be. Let's try it all together. We're going to go at a not too fast speed. We're going to say all 7 syllables back to back. And here we go. Da, me, ni, po, tu, la, be. Little faster. Da, me, ni, po, tu, la, be. Little faster. Da, me, ni, po, tu, la, be. 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 You get the idea. We're going to be speeding this up later. But right now, what I want to do is I want to take these 7 syllables and I want to put it to the major scale. And here's how it's going to work. We're going to start on do, singing do. But instead of saying do, we're going to say all 7 syllables back to back, just like this. Da, me, ni, po, tu, la, be. Then we're going to move on to re, and we're going to sing re. We're going to sing all 7 syllables again. Da, me, ni, po, tu, la, be. Da, me, ni, po, tu, la, be. You get the idea. Let's try it all together, starting at the bottom. We're going to go from low do all the way to high do, and we'll stop there. And here we go. Da, me, ni, po, tu, la, be. 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 How did you do? If you're struggling, rewind the video and practice those 7 syllables a little bit more. But if you're feeling ready, let's try going a little bit faster. Remember, even at a fast speed, we want to make sure that every single syllable is super clear, enunciated. I want to see that spit flying. One last time. A little bit faster. 1, 2, and here we go. Dameni potulabe, 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 dameni potulabe. One last time, even faster. And 1, 2, here we go. Dameni potulabe, 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 dameni potulabe. Feeling pretty good about that? I thought it sounded pretty good, but if you want to practice some more, once again, just rewind that video. But now we're going to make things pretty darn difficult, and here's how. We're going to start back at the beginning at low do. We're going to sing all 7 syllables. Dameni potulabe. After we get to be, I want you to sing da one last time, so it'll be like this. Dameni potulabe da. After we repeat that da, we're going to move up to re, but this time we're starting on this syllable, me. So if we start at the beginning, dameni potulabe da. Me, potulabe, da, me. You getting the idea? We step up. Ni, potulabe, da, me, ni. Potula. You get the picture. We're going one step at a time, but we always move over to the next syllable over. We're going to take it nice and slow so that you can keep up. If you're having trouble, it's okay. Practice makes permanent. The more that we practice something, the easier it will be to do it the same way over and over again. Take time to practice it until you got it down. We're going slow for right now. Dameni potulabe, 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 dameni potulabe. How'd you do? Were you able to keep up? If you were, excellent, we can move on. If not, rewind the video, try it again. We're keeping it at that slow tempo, but if you're ready, we can try it a little bit faster. And here we go. Dameni potulabe, 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 dameni potulabe. One last time, even faster. And 1, 2, here we go. Dameni potulabe, 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 dameni potulabe. Eventually, you will know these 7 syllables so well that you can do this exercise super fast like this. Dameni potulabe, 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 dameni potulabe. It takes practice, but you can get there if you're willing to take the time. That is dameni potulabe. Now, let's move on to some more enunciation exercises. I want to teach you a little bit of a tongue twister right now that's going to help us practice our enunciation. It's called many mumbling mice. The words are going to be up on screen for you to follow. It sounds like this. Many mumbling mice are making midnight music in the moonlight. Mighty nice. Let's slow it down a little bit so that you can say it with me this time. And here we go. Many mumbling mice are making midnight music in the moonlight. Mighty nice. Watch out for some of the ends of the words. For example, mice and nice. We want to be very careful how we end words with that S or soft C sound, S. Because if we hold that for too long, we get sort of a slithering snake sound that we don't want in music. We want to keep those consonants nice and short. They still need to be heard, but they need to be kept crisp so that we don't get those slithering snakes. The other words that we need to look out for are words that end with, say, a T sound, like night. We want to make sure that T has a nice, clear T at the end. Otherwise, instead of singing or saying night, it sounds like we're saying nigh. Make sure we got that T at the end. Let's try saying it one more time, slowly. And here we go. Many mumbling mice are making midnight music in the moonlight. Mighty nice. Pretty good. Now we can add some melody, a little bit of pitches to it. It's going to sound a little bit like this. Many mumbling mice are making midnight music in the moonlight. Mighty nice. Let's try singing that slowly all together. Here we go. Many mumbling mice are making midnight music in the moonlight. Mighty nice. Now we can also change the key. Right now we're singing in the key of C minor, but afterwards I can change things a little bit. And now we're singing in the key of C sharp minor. Let's try singing the Many Mumbling Mice one more time at this key. Here we go. Many mumbling mice are making midnight music in the moonlight. Mighty nice. Let's try one more time. We're going to switch it up to the key of D minor. 1, 2, here we go. Many mumbling mice are making midnight music in the moonlight. Mighty nice. Once you get the hang of this tongue twister exercise, you can rewind the video if you need a little more practice, but once you're ready, we can try it at a faster tempo. Make sure, even at a faster speed, a faster tempo, that we're keeping our consonants crisp and clear for everyone to understand. You might feel like you're over-exaggerating, but it's what the audience needs to hear to understand what we are singing. Here we go. Many mumbling mice are making midnight music in the moonlight. Mighty nice. Many mumbling mice are making midnight music in the moonlight. Mighty nice. Many mumbling mice are making midnight music in the moonlight. Mighty nice. Many mumbling mice are making midnight music in the moonlight. Mighty nice. One more. Many mumbling mice are making midnight music in the moonlight. Mighty nice. You haven't heard me make mistakes. It happens from time to time. Sometimes our tongues get a little tied up and we're not quite able to get out what we need to get out. And that's okay. That's why we practice these exercises until we can get it as close to perfect as possible. Now, will we ever be completely perfect? No. No singer or no musician is ever completely perfect. No matter how much they practice, there are always going to be mistakes every now and then. But the more we practice something, the more likely we will be able to do it correctly every single time. I've got one more tongue twister for you. Take a listen to this. Tongue twisters, like many mumbling mice, are a great way for us as singers to practice our enunciation, because we end up practicing saying the same consonants or the same syllables over and over again. Sometimes we get tripped up, but by practicing them over and over again, we get to the point where we can say those syllables quickly in succession and make sure that they are clearly understood. What are some of the tongue twisters that you already know? Yeah, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? She sells seashells by the seashore. A tutor who tooted the flute tried to tutor two tutors to toot. Said the toot of the tutor is a tougher to toot or tougher to tutor two tutors to toot. Those were all some really great tongue twisters, and I've got one more to teach you. This one is a little bit of a doozy. Feel free to applaud after I am done reciting this tongue twister for you all. It goes a little bit like this. Betty butter, but a bit of butter. She said this butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. But a bit of better butter will make my batter better. So she bought some better butter, put it in her bitter batter, and it made her batter better. So 'twas better Betty butter, but a bit of better butter. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hold your applause. You're all too kind. Okay, so maybe that was a little too fast for some of you to keep up. Let me slow it down for you. Let's try it at a slower speed like this. Betty butter bought a bit of butter, but she said this butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. But a bit of better butter will soon make my batter better. So she bought some better butter, put it in her bitter batter, and it made her batter better. So 'twas better Betty butter bought a bit of better butter. Hopefully slowing it down made it a little bit easier for you to understand the Ballad of Betty Butter, as I like to call it. We're going to try saying this tongue twister all together. Words are on screen so you can follow along. We're going to do this at a nice, slow tempo for now so that we can get used to reciting it. Now be careful. You might notice that some words are capitalized all together and it made her batter better. When we get to that line, make sure you're watching me. We're going to slow that line way down, make it super dramatic. Last but not least, we want to make sure we're enunciating, spitting out those words nice and clearly. We're going to go nice and slow. And here we go. Betty butter bought some butter, but she said this butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. But a bit of better butter will soon make my batter better. So she bought some better butter, put it in her bitter batter, and it made her batter better. So 'twas better Betty butter bought a bit of better butter. I want you to pay close attention to the last two lines. How did I get us back on tempo, back at the right speed for the last two lines? There's something that I did. Listen very closely. I'm going to start at, and it made her batter better. See how I go from that slow section back to tempo. And it made her batter better. So 'twas better Betty butter bought a bit of better butter. Did you notice what I did? I took in a nice deep breath right before the word so. And that breath is a little bit of a cue, something to let you know what is the speed and when to come back in. Watch out for that cue this time. Let's try saying it again at that speed. And here we go. Betty butter bought some butter, but she said this butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. But a bit of better butter will soon make my batter better. So she bought some better butter, put it in her bitter batter, and it made her batter better. So 'twas better Betty butter bought a bit of better butter. How'd you do? At that speed, maybe you're ready to go a little bit faster, or maybe you just need a little more time to practice. Rewind the video if that's the case. But if you want to try it a little bit faster, you can go on ahead with me. A little bit faster this time. And here we go. Betty butter bought some butter, but she said this butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. But a bit of better butter will soon make my batter better. So she bought some better butter, put it in her bitter batter, and it made her batter better. So 'twas better Betty butter bought a bit of better butter. Nicely done reciting Betty butter with me, making sure that we are enunciating every single syllable, especially getting those b's out. Next time, we're going to go back to Betty butter, but we're going to be adding in some instruments from your music kit, and I'll explain how that's going to work next time I see you. But for now, I've got one last fun activity to share with you before we end our music class today. I don't have a lot of time left for class today, but I do want to teach you one last song. This is a song called Bobo, Waten, Taten. Now, this is a song that's very popular along the East Coast, such as around New York City. It's actually a hand clapping game. You'd usually play this game with a partner. Now, we can't actually do that right now because of what's going on in our world. Fortunately, there is a single player version that I'm going to teach you right now. I will teach you the 2-player version in the next class so that if you're wanting to play it with someone at home, such as a sibling or a parent, you can teach the game to them and play it with them. But for now, we're going to play the single player version. It sounds a little bit like this. Bobo, Waten, Taten, boom, 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 Bobo, Waten, Taten, boom, 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 itty bitty, Waten, Taten, Bobo, Waten, Taten, Bobo, Waten, Taten, freeze, freeze, American cheese. Now, I know what you're thinking, Mr. Henman, that was way too fast. There is no way I can keep up with that. So, what should we do? We should slow it down. I'm going to go nice and slow. You can follow me with your actions, doing exactly as I do. And here we go. Bobo, Waten, Taten, boom, boom, boom. Bobo, Waten, Taten, boom, boom, boom. Itty bitty, Waten, Taten, Bobo, Waten, Taten, Bobo, Waten, Taten, freeze. Freeze, American cheese. If you need to review the steps of Bobo, Waten, Taten, you can go ahead and rewind the video, but let's try it just a little bit faster. If you're feeling ready, we can go a little bit faster this time. And here we go, Bobo, Waten, Taten, boom, 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 Bobo, Waten, Taten, boom, 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 itty bitty, Waten, Taten, Bobo, Waten, Taten, Bobo, Waten, Taten, freeze, freeze, American cheese. If you're still struggling with the song, here's the good news. The actions kind of repeat themselves over and over again. Once you've learned one cycle, you can do the entire song. Bobo, Waten, Taten, boom, boom, boom. If you can learn that much, you can do the entire song. One thing to keep in mind, when you're tapping your shoulders, it's important to think about what hand you start up at the beginning when you're doing the claps. For example, I'm using my right hand at the top. Bobo, Waten. The first hand to tap a shoulder is also my right hand because it started on top. It's going to be easier that way. If you start with your left hand on top, Bobo, Waten, then you'll obviously want to have your left hand tap the shoulder first. That's going to make things just a little bit easier as you try the real thing. When you're feeling ready, you can try it at full speed. Bobo, Waten, Taten, boom, 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 Bobo, Waten, Taten, boom, 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 itty bitty, Waten, Taten, Bobo, Waten, Taten, Bobo, Waten, Taten, freeze, freeze, American cheese. Now there is a little bit more to the game, even in the single player version, but we are out of time. I will teach it to you next music class. I'll see you all next week, West Burlington. So long, farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. I said so long, farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. It's been great to play and sing together, but now it's time to say goodbye. So long, farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. I said goodbye for now, until we meet again.